Welcome back to the channel. My name's InsideAgameR and welcome to episode 2 of the 152 Cessna tutorial. On the first episode, if you haven't watched, we did the cold start and we did our taxi, and now we're ready to take off, do a very short flight up in the air, come back down and land it here back in Inishman. Or maybe we'll island hop. We'll decide once we kind of get up in the air. The islands are very close. Okay, so everything is already set. Like I said, if you have to really go back to that very first episode to make sure that you've seen everything, but basically the trim is now set, and yeah, we're good to go. No flaps are needed on the 152. So what we're going to do, we're literally going to pull the handbrake and increase that throttle 50%. Let it rev up. We're going to take control. It is going to pull to the left a little bit, so get control of it. It will wobble. Don't worry if you go all over the place. And we'll do 100%. Once we get to around 50 knots, 55 knots on the airspeed indicator, we do have airspeed now, we will take her off in the air. Now don't worry about going up and down the runway too much. Like I said, it's not easy. It's not easy, these Cessnas, until you get used to them. Okay, and then you're just going to hold back on the throttle just a little bit and get it up in the air. Very simple. Now we want to be climbing around the kind of 70 to 80 mark. So there we go. And what we do want to be doing as well, we do want to be using our trim. Just get rid of the yoke for a second. So this trim, we are now going to want to put it to nose up. Oh, not too far up like that. That's just ridiculous. Bring back the airspeed a second. Okay. Now it does take a bit of getting used to. So there you go. And basically what it is, I want to be able to let go of the stick, and we should be able to get a nice little climb going. Now we're going to go to about 1,000 feet. But what we want to do, we do want to be playing with this trim. Now that is set differently from my mouse button as well. And basically, yeah. So here we are. We just want to reduce the throttle now. As you can see, that our airspeed is climbing quite rapidly. Now we can have a look at the navigational maps, and we can see here that we've come out, and there is another island in front of us. That is the very small island. So what we're going to do, we are actually going to just lower that nose. We want to stay at the same kind of, we don't want to be lowering, we want to be holding our around 80 knots there, 90 knots now, lovely. And what we're going to do, we're going to basically just start making a nice gradual turn here as we head back to the island. The water is looking beautiful, it's looking lovely down there. Like I said, if you're doing it properly, I should have stayed on the heading coming out of the runway. There's a few other bits and pieces that we should have done. Like I said, this is not a serious kind of tutorial in that sense. It's just to try and get the beginners up in the air, and that is the main thing. Try and get you up in the air and flying, because that's what we want to do. Okay, we're just going to lower that nose a little bit, and you can see that the runway is down there. So we are going to come back around a bit more. We are losing our altitude again now, and we are speeding up. So keep control of it. And what we want to be doing is coming in here on the runway. Once we see the runway again, it's just down there to the right. Now this is a shorter runway, so it is a little bit harder. I'm going to take in the throttle here. We can do a notch of flaps if we wish at this point, as it is a bit of a shorter runway. And we're going to come in nicely here. We want to try and aim for the middle of the runway. Like I said, this is not by any means a perfect flight, but it just kind of gives you the basic controls of how to fly these aircraft. Okay, so we need to get ourselves lined back up in with it. Might use a little bit of rudder. And we can take off the power at this point. We do have enough airspeed. And just want to make sure we try and get it straightened up in the center of the runway, and we can let her glide down. Just lift up the nose slightly as we come down, and there we go. Foot on the brakes. Okay, foot back off the brakes now, and we can go back to our taxi spot where we came in. So like I said, that's just very kind of short up and down. Not going into too much detail yet. I will do a more detailed series if people would like that, and I'll go through all the instruments, what they actually do, and a proper flight. But I just basically wanted to get us up, climb to about 1,000 feet, and come straight back down. And as you can see here now, our marshals here are waiting for us. Lovely jubbly. So there you go, guys. That was the basic tutorial series of how to get the Cessna from cold to in the air and back down. Like I said, it was nowhere near a perfect kind of landing or anything like that, but it will do. Now all we need to then do is we're going to put on the parking brake, and we can shut down the 2 engines. We can shut off all our lights as we've now landed. We can pull this out, and we can turn off our battery master switches as well. And there we go. And the one last thing we want to do is just cut off the fuel. And there we go, guys. There we have it. A very, very quick tutorial on how to get the Cessna152 up in the air from cold and back down. Now, if you guys are interested in this, please do make sure you subscribe to the channel. Maybe let me know in the comments which plane do you want me to do next, or do you just want me to go down through the order? We will have to change to a bigger airport eventually. Won't be able to do it all here. And make sure you do subscribe down to the channel. Now, if any of you are watching this today, we'll be live streaming tonight. We will be doing some flying tonight, some test flights with different stuff. So hopefully I'll see some of you guys then. Now that for myself, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.